Hare Krishna, good morning. This morning we will discuss Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 13, Dhritarashtra Quits Home, Text 41. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskritya naram cheva narottanam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jyamudiyayat nasvayesya bhatresu nityam bharata sevya bhagavati utamastoke bhaktir bhavati naistike. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer obeisance unto the personality of God at Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supremest human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. By attending regular classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all what is troublesome to the heart is nearly completely destroyed, and loving service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vistaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Charusananti Namne Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vistaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namne Namaste Saraswata Devi Gauravanya Pacharane Nirvishesanyavadi Paskatyai Desertaram. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So, text 41. Narada Vacha Makamshana Chichorajan Yatishvara Vasam Charat Lokasapalaya Syeme Vahanti Balim Ishuti Sasamyunakti Bhutani Saiva Vyunakti Sam. Word for word translations. Narada Vacha, Narada said, never. Kanchana, by all means. Sucha, do you lament? Rajan, O king, yet because Ishvara Vasam, under the control of the Supreme Lord, Jagat, world, Loka, all living beings, Sapala, including their leaders, Yasya, whose Ime, all these, Vahanti, do bear, Balim, means of worship, Ishitu, for being protected, Saha, Samyunakti, gets together, Buddhani, all living beings, Saha, Eva also, Vyunakti disperses, Sa and. Sri Narada said, O pious king, do not lament for anyone, for everyone is under the control of the Supreme Lord. Therefore all living beings and their leaders carry on worship to be well protected. So therefore all living beings and their leaders carry on worship to be well protected. It is he only who brings them together and disperses them. Purport. Translation and purport by C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Every living being, either in this material world or in the spiritual world, is under the control of the Supreme Lord, the Personality of Godhead. Beginning from Brahmaji, the leader of this universe, down to the insignificant ant, all are abiding by the order of the Supreme Lord. Thus, the constitutional position of the living being is subordination under the control of the Lord. The foolish living being, especially man, artificially rebels against the law of the Supreme, and thus becomes chastised as an asura or lawbreaker. By the order of the Supreme Lord, a living being is placed in a particular position and is again shifted from that place. Nobody can violate the order of the Supreme Lord or his authorized agents, Brahma, Shiva, Indra, Chandra, Maharaj Yudhishthir, or in modern history, Napoleon, Akbar, Alexander, Gandhi, Subhash, and Nero are all servants of the Lord, and they are placed in and removed from their respective positions by the supreme will of the Lord. None of them is independent, even though such men or leaders rebel so as not to recognize the supremacy of the Lord. They are put under still more rigorous laws of the material world by different miseries. Only the foolish man, therefore, says that there is no God. Maharaj Yudhishthira was being convinced of this naked truth because he was greatly overwhelmed by the sudden departure of his old uncle and aunt. Maharaj Dhritarashtra was placed in that position according to his past deeds. He had already suffered or enjoyed the benefits accrued to him in the past. But due to his good luck, somehow or other, he had a good younger brother, Vidura, and by his instruction he left to achieve salvation by closing all accounts in the material world. Ordinarily, one cannot change the course of one's due happiness and distress by plan. Everyone has to accept them as they come under the subtle arrangement of Kala, or invincible time. There is no use trying to counteract them. The best thing is therefore that one should endeavor to achieve salvation, and this prerogative is given only to man because of his developed condition of mental activities and intelligence. Only for man are there different Vedic instructions for attainment of salvation during the human form of existence. One who misuses this opportunity of advanced intelligence is fairly condemned and put into different types of miseries, either in this present life or in the future. That is the way the Supreme controls everyone. We'll read the translation again. Sri Narada said, O pious king, do not lament for everyone is under the control of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, all living beings and their leaders carry on worship to be well protected. It is He only who brings them together and disperses them. Om Jnanatimirandasya Chinanjana Sunakaya Sakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Sitchetayamanobistam stapitam yena bhutale swam rupakadamayam dadati svapadantikam Vandeham shiyudapadakamam Shigam Vaishnavam Sa Shirupam Sarajatam Sakanraganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijanasaitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Saganalita Shivishakam Vitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Chatpate Kopesha Kopka Kantarad Kantanamastute Tapta Kansana Gaurangi Rande Vrindavanashvari Vishabhani Sudha Devi Pranamama Haripriye Pancha Kalpta Visha Kripas Nvavisha Padnam Pavani Bhyo Vaishnavyo Namanama Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Chi Advait Gadada Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhaktavina Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vistaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurapani Pacharini Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskatyai Dasatarani. Narada Muni is instructing Maharaj Yudhishthira that because Maharaj Yudhishthira was very much affected by his aunt and uncle leaving Dhritarashtra, leaving in the middle of the night without informing him. So Narada Muni came to instruct him what was happening. That Dhritarashtra left because of the preaching of Vidura. Vidura and Narada Muni are saintly persons. A saintly person is not concerned with himself, but with all the other living entities. So Vidura is speaking strong words to Dhritarashtra to break his material attachments. So here Narada Muni is instructing us, is not only instructing Yudhishthira Maharaj, but all of us. He says, the Supreme Personality of Godhead brings together and disperses everyone. So why then worry? It's an arrangement of the Lord that because He brings them together and disperses them. That will come and go. But we need to focus on life's mission, which is to develop Krishna consciousness. That one should know that the Jivatma, we are servants of the Lord. Krishna Swarupahoy, Krishna Nityadas. And as servants of the Lord, we must go on the path of devotional service and perform 9 angas of devotional service. And as long as we are on this path of devotional service, we will be protected. That was also the promise to Brahma. Brahma asked for empowerment and for protection against delusion. And Lord Krishna answered, O Brahma, all what you have prayed for has already been granted. Has already been granted. That as long as you perform your devotional service, that you will be protected. That's essential here in this verse. Therefore, all beings and their leaders carry on worship to be well protected. So, carrying worship, we worship the Lord by following His instructions. And that is Sharanagati, the process of Atmani Vedam, the process of surrender ourselves to the Supreme Lord. Atmani Vedam. It begins with rejecting what's unfavorable for devotional service and accepting what's favorable. That we have to learn. In the 16th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains the difference between the demoniac and the devotees, is that the devotees are following scripture and the demoniac are acting whimsically. So by that, the demoniac, they don't know what to do and what not to do. A devotee knows what to do and what not to do based on the scriptures. And then, yes, then a devotee realizes Krishna is my only maintainer. In this verse said, yes, People come together in this world and are separated by the Supreme Lord. Come together, it means are all temporary relationships. But our only real relationship is with the Supreme Lord. That's eternal. And we should not be so much concerned with all these temporary relationships. We should use them to serve the Lord and intensify and cultivate and intensify our relationship with Krishna. Because ultimately everything is controlled with Krishna. Illusion means that we forget that Krishna is the ultimate Ishvara. Bhagavad Gita, we have Ishvara, we have Prakriti, we have Kala, we have then Karma, and the Jiva. All these are Ishvara controls the other four, everything. But we think ourselves the controllers, but we are not. Krishna gives us our karma, previous lives, but we have a lot of karma. He decides what kind of karma we get in this life. So it's good to pray to the Supreme Lord for protection. Even if by the performance of pure devotional service all our karma is gone, Krishna still gives us suffering. Why? If your karma is gone, you don't need purification anymore. Why is that? It's mentioned by our acharyas that even if our heart is pure, there may be in the heart still some residue of this tendency to enjoy, and he wants us to give it completely up. And therefore, there is also still some suffering to protect us. But suffering or pleasure in this world, a devotee is not interested. Is equal to that. Pleasure or suffering. It's for the body, it's all temporary. He wants to be absorbed in the real pleasure of the soul. And therefore one mana always think of Krishna and his pastimes. Great personalities like Hiranyakasipu conquered the whole universe. But in a moment he was killed by the Supreme Lord, Nrsimhadev. And therefore Prahlad Maharaj, in Prahlad Maharaj's prayers, in one verse in the 7th canto, he says, yes, I'm very much afraid of your material energy, he says. That because I saw just in a moment my father was finished. But Lord Nrsimhadev, he knows. Well, Prahlad Maharaj knows that the Ishvara, Lord Nrsimhadev, the Supreme Lord, is controlling everything. And therefore he speaks this verse in his prayers. Balasya nea saranam pidra nirshingya nartasya saratamudam vitamachatana taptasya yat pratividich ya ianyasyistas tavat pipo tanubritam tvakupekshintanam. O Lord Nrsimhadev, because of a body conception, embodied souls neglected and not cared for cannot do anything for their betterment. And that is an important point which Prabhupada also makes in the purport. One can try to get so much happiness in this world, but people get just the opposite as a result. Because if you want material happiness, you will suffer. So, and it entangles them more and more in the material energy. that we see more and more. So what can they do for their betterment? That whatever remedies they accept, although perhaps temporarily beneficial, are all impermanent. All these remedies usually they lead to more suffering. That not a relief of suffering. Say, for example, a father and a mother cannot protect their child. A physician and medicine cannot relieve a suffering patient, and a boat on the ocean cannot protect a drowning man. So yes, this depends all on the Supreme Lord. And today the world is in a helpless condition all over the world. A new world war may occur at every moment. And they have peace talks, but it gets just the opposite. They try to find remedies, but it's not. They cannot. On their own, they cannot. That like we have 4 seasons. Who organizes the 4 seasons? In India, 6 seasons. That is coming every year. Why is it coming? Who suddenly there are millions of leaves on the trees. So who is painting the painting? Who is the painter? That some new school, since a few decades, they speak about intelligent design. That they don't speak about the God, but there is intelligent design in the universe. That but most people can't realize that and not accept that they are not in control. Our control is very limited. And when the jiva, when the living entity misuses his position, and try to exploit and get happiness in that way, then it's disastrous. So that is a devotee always, every moment is conscious. Before he does something, he prays to the spiritual master, to the Supreme Lord, for their blessings. That they know without blessings I cannot do anything. That so that yet that Srila Prabhupada had so much faith in his spiritual master. He arrived in America, and he said, my spiritual master brought me here. Krishna brought me here because of my spiritual master. And then when he got so many followers, he saw, oh, it's my Guru Maharaj sending them to help me in his mission. It's everything as a hand of his Guru Maharaj, the hand of Krishna. And that also we must recognize that it's not our plans which will become true. Even if we dovetail our plans in Krishna's service, Krishna finally decides about success and failure, about the lessons we have to learn. And as a first step in God consciousness, feeling oneself helpless, knowing without the Supreme Lord we cannot do anything. And most people cannot realize it. They are so blinded by the material energy. That's the power of the material energy. So now they said, do not lament for anyone. All these relationships are temporary. Many times we lament when some of our dear ones has passed away. But who will be helped by that lamentation? The person who is gone? No, not at all. That no, this lamentation is useless. It's to satisfy our false ego, that's all. That so that is important to understand that, yeah, everything is under control of the Supreme Lord. That and therefore it's our duty to put ourselves under the control of the Supreme Lord by following His instructions. That and then Krishna will be protected. I just read a book written by Bhaktivedanta Maharaj, and this is a book about the prayers of Queen Kunti, and he comments on it on various ways. And it is clear from our prayers that because the Lord always protected her, He will also protect us, materially and spiritually, if we come under His protection. But to be under the Lord's protection, we must carry out our devotional service 24 hours a day, always engage in Krishna's service. And then we will be protected. So this bringing together and dispersing of people in this world happens every moment. Today we are together hearing this Bhagavatam, and it's Krishna's arrangement who brings us together. And we are temporarily together, but just by Krishna's arrangement, that devotees who are going on Sankirtan, they have the experience many times that Krishna sends them people, that people who are interested, that who want to know more, that He brings them in contact. So Krishna is in our heart, and He controls who we meet. He controls the experience we go through. And that so this is an important lesson for us to learn. If we don't want to learn this lesson, then we will just be in material consciousness. So this starts with Krishna takes care of his devotees. Devotional life begins with gratitude. Every day is a gift of Krishna. Every day is an occasion to use our body in the service of the Lord. And that gratitude, because everything belongs to the Lord and everything is controlled by the Lord. That on our own we cannot do anything. That on our own strength we can also not preach. That Krishna gives us the strength, and Krishna gives the strength to those who are hearing to understand or not to understand. That's up to Him. That spiritual knowledge cannot be understood if one is not humble, if one is not submissive, that if one is envious of Krishna, if one is sinful, one cannot understand anything. And that's the will of Krishna. that they cannot understand, but the cause lies by the person itself. Krishna reciprocates with their attitude. In nectar devotion is mentioned, the attitude of the follower is everything. It's with our attitude that Krishna reciprocates. We see that in the and it's by Krishna's reciprocation with that attitude that it gives a certain understanding to us. When Krishna entered the arena, the wrestling arena, then the unintelligent saw him as an unintelligent boy. President of Vrindavan, Mother Yasoda, and also Devaki and Vasudev, they saw him as a child. The young girls of Vrindavan saw him as Cupid personified. That yeah, the yogis saw him as the bliss of liberation, and Kamsa saw him as death personified. So Krishna gives us an understanding according to our inner attitude and our surrender. Yeyatamam prapachate tamstataiva bhajamyam. Krishna reciprocates according to our surrender. So yes, that this is a very important lesson for us. These are the words of Narada Muni. That, of course, that Dhritarashtra quits home, but long before that, right after the Battle of Kurukshetra, Yudhishthira Maharaj has heard from Bhishma Dev, and Bhishma Dev said the same thing. So that as long as you follow the religious principles and instructions of the Brahmins, you will be always protected by these religious principles and these Brahmins. Who gives this protection? It's Krishna. That he protects us. That you have the laws of karma, yes. Krishna said, I don't have to do anything with it, with these laws of karma. Everyone gets just the karma according to his past deeds or misdeeds. Because as the Paramatma, he says, yeah, I'm nothing to do with it. But then he says in Bhagavad Gita that's Maya Dakshina Prakriti. I'm controlling material nature. So he's giving the reactions, but he remains neutral. But for the devotee, does not remain neutral. For the devotee, it purifies his heart and helps him to make spiritual advancement. Ananya Sintyam Yechana Prayapastesam Nityabhyuktam Yogishenam Vamyam. There is not neutral. It gives the devotee what he needs for making spiritual advancement. He protects what is spiritual advancement that he had already made. So that is Krishna is taking care of his devotees. And that's not partiality, because he reciprocates with the attitude of the jiva, attitude of his devotees. He reciprocates with the attitudes of the demons also. He covers them so that they can forget him. So this is Lord Krishna. And yes, but in this verse says every living being in the material world and the spiritual world is under control of the Supreme Personality of God. So we are always under the control. Even if you are liberated, you are under the control of the spiritual energy, under Krishna's control. So also in the spiritual world, everyone is controlled by the Supreme Lord, but by different energy. An energy which gives the living entity much more freedom. So beginning from Brahmaji, the leader of this universe, down to the insignificant ant, all are abiding by the order of the Supreme Lord. Because everyone has to act according to one's nature. And that nature is, a dog has to act with the nature of a dog, cannot get out of it. A human has to act in the realm of his human existence. He cannot even think out of the box. We think in terms of our experience of these laws of nature and so on. But Krishna has nothing to do with the laws of nature. It's translogical, and that we cannot understand with our human brains. Therefore, the spiritual understanding comes to the heart, to the soul on the transcendental level, real understanding. But to get that real understanding, we need to purify the heart. So the constitutional position of the living entity is subordination under the control of the Lord. That when we give ourselves under the control of the Lord, then we don't have to worry. And it's like that little boy who was on a ship in the Arabian Sea, and there was a big storm. The boat was full of people, and the boat went up and down like a toy in the storm, and everyone was thinking, and they were going to die, and they were screaming. But this little boy, it was just sitting down. And after the storm was over, everyone survived. There's the little boy, why you were not afraid? And he said, and little boy said, why should I be afraid? My mother is here. So yes, in the same way, why should we be afraid? Krishna is our best friend and he takes care of us. But he takes care of us when we are subordinate. But the foolish living being, especially man, artificially rebels against the law of the Supreme Lord and thus becomes chastised as an asura or lawbreaker. And that's constantly going on. Big man takes big decisions but every moment they may have to go. Every moment they can get a heart attack or whatever. They are not in a position to order their destination. Their destination is already fixed by the Supreme Lord. So nobody can violate the order of the Lord or his authorized agent. And that is a fact. Everyone violates the order of the Lord in the Supreme Lord in this world because they think himself the enjoyer, trying to exploit the property of the Supreme Lord for their enjoyment. And we see this great man who all came and go, and soon their names will be forgotten. Nobody is independent of the will of the Lord. Nothing happens with his sanction. So yes, foolish men say that there is no God, but who listen to them? That how can they explain the origin of the Supreme Lord and everything that's happening? It's not by chance. There's big intelligence. There's a big plan beyond everything. And the plan maker is Krishna. That, but Vidura came to speak these strong words to Dhritarashtra to break his material attachment. And he will get salvation. It will be impersonal liberation, not the highest, because he was not a devotee of Krishna. But still, he was put on a path of liberation by Vidura. So everyone has to accept them as they come under the subtle arrangement of Kala or invincible time. So Kala is the Lord's energy. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, I'm Kala, I'm time, I'm devouring all people in this world. Yes, every moment we are under this Kala energy. And this Kala means the time knows, determines our destination, predestined by time. And we have little freedom how to deal with that, with the reactions that we give. But it's very limited. So one who knows this takes shelter of Krishna, takes shelter of God. So always feel gratitude for what you get from Krishna and use it in devotional service. And this life is an opportunity for making spiritual advancements. Like Prahlad Maharaj says, Kamarajat Pacho Dharmam Bharavtamam Durlavam Manusham Chamyam Tapya Dhruvanartadam. Prahlad Maharaj says, from 5 years old, one should use this opportunity and engage in devotional service and be protected by the Supreme Lord. So, any questions or comments, please?
Maharaj, thank you very much, Maharaj. Very nice class about keeping the attitude, right attitude while serving. Many times the setup what we have, Maharaj, like we are in a temple, so we like somebody may think that whatever we do is all devotional service. Like even if I'm cleaning a bathroom here or if we are cleaning a dining hall or cooking, we'll feel that devotion it is the devotional service. And then sometimes because of our anarthas, we may start thinking, oh, I am doing more than others, or I'm doing better than others. And it is how we can maintain that attitude what you mentioned always, so that we can remain in mode of goodness, which will help us to continue our sadhana and devotional service.
Yeah. So Krishna reciprocates with the inner attitude of the follower. Nectar of Devotion says that We have seen when the gopis became proud, what happened? Krishna disappeared. That when pride comes, we break our connection with Krishna. That's the most dangerous thing. All capabilities that we get from Krishna, we may have greater abilities than other persons, maybe. That's all right. But that means Yushikarni Taiki.
Yeah.
So that means if we get more, right, if we get greater capabilities, means greater service, greater responsibility. And we should always think in that way. That a few days ago there was the appearance of Jayananda Prabhu, and he's such a nice example of always humble the background and doing so much service. But he never told anyone that he was better than others. No, he remained humble. And that he saw things that had to be done and he was doing them. He never complained that because yes, everything we do is service, but whether it's devotional service, that's something else. To be devotional service, there must be man mana. You must do it consciously for Krishna. You can do it for Krishna and give the results to Krishna, but that's not first class. It's not that automatically whatever we do in the temple is devotional service. Service for sure, more devotional, that's something else that we have to cultivate. Therefore, it's important. But this is something, if we are sincere in making advancement and some pride comes up, Krishna will give us lessons. Things will not start to work out, I assure you. He will teach you a lesson. And that's always like that. So Krishna helps the devotees in that way. And because we are under the protection of Krishna. So we have to be careful. Never think ourselves better than others. That when I preach, I am always know whatever I can say is Krishna in my heart, who inspires. He speaks to me. And if I become bewildered, then Maya will speak to me. And that is, if I have the wrong attitude, nothing will work out. But I will think that it works out. And that's the power of Maya. But then later you learn the lesson and say, oh, that was wrong. But pride destroys our love for Krishna. Always, that is the effect. It destroys. This is dangerous. Better always humble. I hope that helps.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you. Thank you very much, Maharaj. So, how to keep or maintain that attitude that we are we wanted to do this with the gratitude that this is opportunity. It is not like only I am doing this seva and nobody else is doing, but it is opportunity, and because of that opportunity, I am getting this facility to do the seva. So, how we can have that proper attitude?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that proper attitude, therefore, we have Bhagavatam class every day. We learned today about Vidura, about Narada Muni, Yudhishthira Maharaj. These are our examples. And we have to hear with attention every day. And surely we will become affected by their mood. Therefore, hearing is so important. This right attitude comes from hearing the Bhagavatam especially. That because Bhagavatam is a lot about correcting our inner attitude. That also being association, in personal association of great devotees, will bring up, we will feel their attitude and understand their motivations. That it's a gradual process. Process of Krishna consciousness is a change of our inner attitude, is a change of our desires. And it's a slow process. It doesn't happen overnight. Good. I hope that
Thank you.
helped. Thank you.
Yes, Maharaj.
So
Thank you very much.
we have nectar of instruction this evening.
Yes, Maharaj.
For me, it's in the morning. Thank you. See you soon.
Thank
Hare
you very much.
Krishna.
Yes,
Jai
Hare
Prabhupada.
Krishna. Jai Prabhupada. Jai. He's on his